In this part, you will hear an extract from a school talk by a marine biologist. For questions 31 to 32 and 38 to 40, listen and complete the sentences below. Write no more than 3 words for each answer. Questions 33 to 37 must be answered with a cross in a box. If you change your mind about an answer, put a line through the box and then mark your new answer with a cross. 1 mark will be awarded for each correct answer.
OK, everyone. So, to help you think about different careers you could do in the future, we've invited some guests to come and talk to you all about their professions. The first guest I'd like you to meet is a respected scientist, Professor Sanjana Sharma. She's a marine biologist. Sanjana, thank you so much for coming to talk to us today.
You're very welcome, Mr. Boyle.
Please, Sanjana, in case some of the students are unsure about what the job involves, could you start by explaining what a marine biologist does?
Well, marine biologists study the creatures and conditions under the sea, sometimes using specially equipped submarines and cameras to explore. It's a fascinating career and one that allows you to travel all over the world. My specialization is in the deep sea. This is a very inhospitable environment far beneath the surface. I find it amazing that there are creatures that can survive such conditions. This environment is untouched by light and warmth, and it has pressure levels of more than 1,000 times the standard atmospheric pressure at sea level. To put that in perspective, it's the equivalent of 1 person trying to support 50 jumbo jets.
Wow, I'm amazed anything could survive there.
Yes, it's easy to think that it would be impossible for anything to survive in such conditions. But this is far from the case. In fact, a number of ocean species are known to live in the deep sea environment, and they have developed interesting survival techniques as a result. They have adapted over time to have a chance of survival. The hatchet fish, for example, has an amazing skill. It has special organs that give off light. To use a technical term, we would say it has the capacity to manipulate bioluminescent photophores in its body in order to avoid predators. Here's a photo of one of them. Can you all see that? The hatchetfish's skin can imitate the light from above. That in turn means that the fish beneath them don't notice that there are fish above blocking out the sunlight, and so the prey is not as aware of the predator.
I see. So the hatchetfish has adapted really well to life at such a depth. What other types of adaptation do we see in these deep-sea creatures, Sanjana?
Well, living at such depths can have other consequences. For example, the colossal squid is much larger than any squid in shallow water. Many deep-sea creatures have this tendency, and we call it abyssal gigantism. This particular squid can grow up to 14 meters long. That's the length of 1.5 double-decker buses. Even deeper, creatures called amphipods, which are a bit like crabs, can grow to lengths of up to 30 centimeters, whereas most of the commonly found surface amphipods are only about 3 centimeters. Again, that's quite a difference, nearly 10 times bigger. But of course, if you're expecting all deep-sea creatures to be enormous, then 30 centimeters might be a bit of an anticlimax. These amphipods are actually found in a place called the Mariana Trench. This is an amazing area. It's the deepest point of all the world's oceans, and it's located in the Western Pacific Ocean. It's remarkable for a number of reasons. For one thing, the trench has a maximum known depth of almost 11 kilometers. Mount Everest is only 8,843 meters high.
That's incredible. So, you've said that the inhabitants of this underwater trench are quite different to those which are found on the ocean surface. What other kinds of creatures live in the Mariana Trench?
It's also home to sea cucumbers, creatures which feed on the ocean floor.
And do they look like the cucumbers we eat in salads by any chance?
Exactly. That's where they get their name from. There are also creatures with soft shells known as forams. They hunt for food in the sand, but we know very little about them because they have a tendency to disintegrate whenever brought to the surface. To survive, they have to remain submerged at the depths their bodies have adapted to.
Oh dear, that must be frustrating for marine biologists like yourselves.
Yes, and that's one of the biggest problems with researching creatures of the Mariana Trench. This deep underwater world is so different to our own environment and so extreme. We simply can't replicate it to study these creatures. So we have to try to develop techniques that let us study them in their own environment. We're trying to develop new technology all the time to do that more effectively. But this is one of the things I love about my profession. There are always new developments needed. It's never boring.
I can see that. So you're saying that there's still a lot we don't know about the deep sea?
Absolutely. The vast majority of the deep sea and the Mariana Trench remains unexplored, even compared to the Moon and the surface of Mars. It's really mind-blowing for me to think that there are whole areas of our planet that no one has ever seen or studied. This is what keeps me fascinated in my career. It's very difficult to predict what other species may be lurking in the depths. We're always curious to see what we will find next.
I expect you are. Thank you so much for coming in to speak with us today. Thank you very much, Sanjana, for sparing the time to be here.
It's been a pleasure.